There's a video with Ryan Johnson, the guy who is into age reversing, and he's got a movement called Don't Die. He was talking to a gentleman in a podcast. He's being interviewed. And one of the things that he touched on is his own uh, mental health status, and relationship. And he didn't go into heavy detail, but he talked about how he was so depressed for a long period of time, even though he had money
Mm-hmm.
and a company that was financially doing well. And it took him to, he had sold that company and got a divorce. And one of the things he imparted that was for his mental health, he realized that he struggled in his relationship in building that company and with his religion. And he talked about how we underestimate the power of a bad relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And and the way I internalize that is I use the relationship word in a broad spectrum.
Mm.
So a relationship is not only the partner that you with, a
Correct.
relationship is all of the relationship. Your job that you have, there's a relationship there with the people at that job, and that job, there's a particular relationship for you. There's a relationship for you with relatives and people that are close in your life. You have a certain relationship with them. There's relationships with uh, any kind of extracurricular activities that you have and that you do and that you perceive. All these things are relationships to me. The pursuit in the social media realm for me is a relationship. And so I in conference the word relationship in a broad term, and some people don't get it. But his point was people undervalue or they dismiss the power of a bad relationship. And so when I take that, I look at jobs that I've had that I've just absolutely hated,
Mm-hmm.
a relationship being in a long term that just turned to disaster,
Mm-hmm.
and you have a relationship with friends in that at some point the relationship shifted to where, and it's easier to just not deal with some relationships. You can just not deal with some people, you know,
Right.
but when it's your marriage or your job, it's not easy to just not deal with it.
Yeah.
You're going to have to deal with it.
Mhm.
And so the guy asked him how, so when he did all of that, did he instantly become not depressed anymore or whatever? And the guy said it took about a year
Mm-hmm.
to where he started to come around and come out of that. And I related that to as the recovery. And the interviewer was asking, he was thinking maybe it would be kind of instantaneous, and I was like thinking no, because of the simple fact that everybody heals differently.
Correct.
Everybody recovers on a different scale. Um, there's no time, and I didn't like that when I was going through things where people would. bullshit comments like, "Oh, just get over it," or somebody's got to lose, or of course, people like that I don't have in my life anymore. But there is no just get over it. A person has to reconcile that thing because that's permanently a part of them. And I'm not saying um, you should use that as an excuse, but that's a permanent part of your life, whether you were there 1 year, 1 day, or 30 years.
Correct.
How you're going to reconcile that and move forward is on your time. It's not on somebody's fancy where you got 6 months to get your shit together or just it's truly on your time. And I think a lot of people, one, make the mistake of not recognizing how much of a bad relationship in any form does damage to you, both mentally and physically, and they don't take the proper time to reconcile that thing, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I always say you got to forgive yourself first.
Exactly. You do.
And yeah, and sometimes in this shit you do some fucked up shit, uh especially depending on what type of job you're in, what type of relationship status that you're dealing with. But you gotta forgive yourself first, irregardless if the other person or the other entity never forgives you, because a job can never forgive you. Um, and people don't think that, but move on from a job and then try to get another job,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
First thing they'll be saying is that person was a bad worker, that person this, that, and the other person that, and blah, blah, blah. That job is never going to take the responsibility for their own workplace,
No.
so you decide to move on to another job, they're never going to say, well, we got a crappy work system here, so
No.
that
Right.
person wasn't necessarily gonna, you know what I'm saying? So what is that? That's a job not forgiving you,
Yeah.
and so you can have that in any other relationship. It's just something you have to deal with. And I know people don't look at it in those terms, but I'm here to give you a different unique view of looking at life anyway. So um that was my thought on his video. And the comment came into a larger scale video that they were talking about different health things, but that little snippet stuck out to me, in talking about underestimating the power of a bad relationship.
Mhm.
You know,
And yeah, being in a bad relationship can cause you to react to a lot of different things in life. It can change your whole outlook on different things, regardless to, like you say, what type of relationship it could be. It could be marriage, dating, a job, family. Things happen to where you do have to just, you have to forgive and move on, because you know they're not going to forgive. Like you say, for a job may be toxic, cause you to change your whole attitude. And when you go and apply for another job, they're like, well, why did you leave there? And the job would never tell you that they made it toxic, or it was a hostile environment, or they didn't do something right that you needed, or they didn't give you all the proper tools you needed to do the job. They'll never take responsibility for their portion of it. And then the same way with a bad relationship, you got two people in a relationship. Like they say, there's always three sides to a story. You got your story, her story, or his story, and the truth. So it's like, I'm gonna tell my version of it. He gonna tell his version of it. But then it's like where the truth lies at in this, because I could say, "Oh, he was a bad person," and it could be only because maybe I was going through early, or as they would say, perimenopause. But and he didn't have the skills to say, yes, yes, yes. So anyway, I wasn't. But at the time, I could say he was a bad person. He could say I was a bad person. But it's like, did you bring that bad person out of me because of, was I just reacting to your actions, or was I just being that type of a person? So it's like people can cause you, or relationships can cause you to act a certain way, even with family. Family can, whereas though they may think they're treating you right, but at the end of the day, sometimes, and they may know too, that it's like, okay, y'all know y'all ain't being right, and you you don't want to apologize because you feel you ain't did nothing wrong, but you know you've done something wrong. It's like, it's just, people can make, there's always a, I'm gonna just end it with this, there's always a reaction to an action.